إذا كنت تريد أن تكون على مذهب السلف تعلم مذهب السلف.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد. So we continue, barakallahu feekum, with where we left off after mentioning firstly the opening muqaddimah and introduction by Shaykh al-Islam Mohammad bin Abd rahimahullah ta'ala, wherein he made dua for the talib al-ilm and the reader of this book, and then he went on to detail and outline to us the meaning of al-Hanifiyah and to highlight to us the qubh and the khuturah, the ugliness and the danger of shirk, of associating partners with Allah Azza wa Jal. Then he said rahimahullah ta'ala, to begin now with the actual fundamentals and the principles that he now brings. He started with al-Qaa'idة al-Awla, the first principle. أن تعلم أن الكفار الذين قاتلهم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم مقرون بأن الله تعالى هو الخالق المدبر، وأن ذلك لم يدخلهم في الإسلام. والدليل قوله تعالى: قل من يرزقكم من السماء والأرض أم من يملك السمع والأبصار ومن يخرج الحي من الميت ويخرج الميت من الحي ومن يدبر الأمر فسيقولون الله فقل أفلا تتقون. The first principle, and that is that you know that the kuffar whom the Messenger ﷺ fought against, that they used to affirm that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah the Most High, was the creator and the disposer of all of the affairs. However, that did not enter them into Islam. And the proof for this,
he will be sad if he starts to play PS again.
Statement subhanahu wa ta'ala. The statement of Allah Azza wa Jal. Say, who provides for you from the sky and from the earth, or who owns hearing and sight, and who brings out the living from the dead and brings out the dead from the living, and who disposes of the affairs? They will surely say Allah. Say, will you then not be afraid of Allah's punishment and for setting up rivals in worship with Him subhanahu wa ta'ala? So firstly, to begin, we'll discuss bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, make mention of the categories of Tawheed. And as you are aware, barakallahu feekum, the Tawheed is of three types, so it's divided into three separate categories. The first category is the Tawheed of al-Rububiyyah, and that is that Allah Azza wa Jal is al-Khaliq, al-Mudabbir, that He is the creator, He is the one who controls the affairs. And the second type of Tawheed is Tawheed of Uluhiyyah, and is also known as the Tawheed of al-Ibadah, the Tawheed of worship. And that is that Allah Azza wa Jal has the right to be singled out alone in all of our acts of worship. And the third category of Tawheed is the Tawheed of al-Asma'i was-Sifat, Tawheed of Allah's names and His attributes. And all three of these categories, ayyuhal ikhwah, are found in various places throughout the Quran. However, all three of them have been mentioned in a single ayah. It is the ayah that we find in Surah Maryam, wherein Allah Azza wa Jal said, رَبُّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَمَا بَيْنَهُمَا فَاعْبُدْهُ وَاصْطَبِرْ لِعِبَادَتِهِ هَلْ تَعْلَمُ لَهُ سَمِيًّا. Lord of the heavens and the earth, and all that is between them, so worship Him alone, and be constant and patient in His worship. Do you know any who is similar to Him? So, where is the Tawheed of Rububiyyah found in this ayah? is found in the first part of the ayah where Allah Azza wa Jalla says, رَبُّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَمَا بَيْنَهُمَا, Lord of the heavens and the earth and all that is between them. And as for Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah or Tawheed of Ibadah, then it is in his statement subhanahu wa ta'ala, فَعْبُدْهُ وَاصْطَبِرْ لِعِبَادَتِي, so worship him alone and be constant and patient in his worship. And then هَلْ تَعْلَمُ لَهُ سَمِيًّا, do you know of any who is similar to him, is the Tawheed of al-Asma'i wal-Sifat, to single out Allah Azza wa Jal alone in his names and his attributes. طيب. So then Shaykh al-Islam rahimahullah ta'ala, that he discusses in this first principle, and he makes mention of the fact that affirming Tawheed al-Rububiyyah alone does not enter a person into Islam. The affirmation of Tawheed al-Rububiyyah alone does not enter a person into al-Islam. So based upon that, we say that the correct meaning and the correct translation of La ilaha illallah is La ma'buda bihaqqin illallah, that none has the right to be worshipped in truth except Allah Azza wa Jal alone. And the correct meaning of La ilaha illallah is La ma'buda bihaqqin illallah, that none has the right to be worshipped in truth except Allah alone. And it's not as how some of the people mistakenly translate it, and they say that there is no God but God. There's no God but Allah. Rather, this is a mistake in the understanding and the translation of La ilaha illallah, when the correct meaning is La ma'buda bihaqqin illallah, that none has the right to be worshipped in truth except Allah alone. And likewise, some of the people mistakenly say that the meaning of La ilaha illallah is La khaliqa illallah, that there is no creator except Allah alone. And by this kalima, by this meaning, that they have only affirmed for Allah Azza wa Jal the Tawheed of al-Rububiyyah, the Tawheed of Allah's Lordship, that there is no creator except for Allah Azza wa Jal alone. So this meaning in this translation is wrong from a number of angles, but we'll mention bi'ithnillahi ta'ala two of those angles. And the first one is that by this definition and this meaning of the kalimat al-Tawheed, the statement of La ilaha illallah, if we was to define it as there is no creator except Allah alone, then this definition would necessitate that the call and the da'wah of all of the prophets and messengers alayhim salatu wassalam wasn't to single out Allah alone in worship, but it was merely to affirm the rububiyyah of Allah Azza wa Jal. That this meaning, this definition, that it would necessitate that the da'wah of the anbiya, the da'wah of the messengers and the prophets, that it wasn't to single out Allah alone in worship. It wasn't a da'wah or a call to the Tawheed of Uluhiyyah or the Tawheed of Ibadah, to single out Allah Azza wa Jal alone in worship. But rather it would necessitate that their call was merely one to affirm the Rububiyyah of Allah Azza wa Jal, the Lordship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we know that this is false. Secondly, the second angle is that it would necessitate that the disbelievers from the Quraysh were in fact Muslims. Why? Because they used to affirm themselves the rububiyyah of Allah Azza wa Jal. Shaykh al-Islam rahimahullah ta'ala mentioned the ayah. If you used to ask them, who created the heavens and the earth and that which is between it, that they would surely say Allah. They affirmed that Allah Azza wa Jal was the Khaliq, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was the sole creator. So they did not have an issue in relation to that. Rather, where was their issue? It was in the affair of the Tawheed of al-Uluhiyyah and ibadah, singling out Allah Azza wa Jal alone in their worship. So this definition, this false definition, would necessitate that the disbelievers from the Quraysh, that they were in fact Muslims, since they already affirmed the rububiyyah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it would also necessitate that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he fought against them unjustly, when it's not the case. Then he mentioned Shaykh al-Islam rahimahullah ta'ala, وَالدَّلِيلُ قَوْلُهُ تَعَالَى قُلْ مَنْ يَرْزُقُكُم مِّنَ السَّمَاءِ وَالْأَرْضِ أَمَّنْ يَمْلِكُ السَّمْعَ وَالْأَبْصَارَ وَمَنْ يُخْرِجُ الْحَيَّ مِنَ الْمَيِّتِ وَيُخْرِجُ الْمَيِّتَ مِنَ الْحَيِّ وَمَنْ يُدَبِّرُ الْأَمْرَ فَسَيَقُولُونَ اللَّهُ فَقُلْ أَفَلَا تَتَّقُونَ. The proof for this is, He is the Most High saying, say, who provides for you from the sky and from the earth, or who owns hearing and sight, and who brings out the living from the dead and brings out the dead from the living, and who disposes the affairs, they will surely say Allah. They affirmed the rububiyyah of Allah Azza wa Jal. They affirmed the lordship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that He was the sole creator. However, that wasn't sufficient, and that did not enter them into al-Islam. But rather, they remained upon disbelief. Why? Because of their shirk, their association of partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in relation to their ibadah, in relation to their worship. They will surely say Allah, and that is the shahid from the ayah, that they will surely say Allah, that they affirmed Allah's rububiyyah. And say, Allah Azza wa Jalla instructs the Prophet ﷺ, say, will you not then be afraid of Allah? Will you not then be afraid of Allah's punishment for setting up rivals in worship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And there are many ayats that are similar to this throughout the Quran. And from them is the statement of Allah Azza wa Jalla in Surah Al-Mu'minun, where He said subhanahu wa ta'ala, قُلْ لِمَنِ الْأَرْضُ وَمَنْ فِيهَا إِن كُنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. Say, whose is the earth and whosoever is therein, if you know. سَيَقُولُونَ لِلَّهِ قُلْ أَفَلَا تَذَكَّرُونَ. That they will say, it is Allah's. Say, will you not then take the reminder? قُلْ مَنْ رَبُّ السَّمَاوَاتِ السَّبْعِ وَرَبُّ الْعَرْشِ الْعَظِيمِ. Say, who is the Lord of the seven heavens and the Lord of the great throne? سَيَقُولُونَ لِلَّهِ. They will say, it belongs to Allah. قُلْ أَفَلَا تَتَّقُونَ. So say, will you not then fear Him and be dutiful? قُلْ مَنْ بِيَدِهِ مَلَكُوتُ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ وَهُوَ يُجِيرُ وَلَا يُجَارُ عَلَيْهِ إِن كُنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ سَيَقُولُونَ لِلَّهِ قُلْ فَأَنَّى تُسْحَرُونَ. Say, in whose hand is the sovereignty of everything and the dominion of everything, and He protects all, while against whom there is no protector. If you know, they will say, all that belongs to Allah. Say, how then are you deceived and turn away from the truth? So there are many ayat found throughout the book of Allah Azza wa Jal to prove this principle and this point that Shaykh al-Islam Mohammad bin Abd rahimahullah ta'ala brings here in this first principle. And that is that the affirmation of Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, affirming Allah Azza wa Jal's lordship alone, that does not enter a person into Islam. But rather, a person doesn't enter into Islam up until that they affirm the Tawheed of Uluhiyyah, the Tawheed of Ibadah. And that was the call of all of the Anbiya and the Rasul, alayhim as-salatu was-salam, that they called the people to affirm that Allah Azza wa Jal has the sole right to be worshipped alone. So we say that the meaning of La ilaha illallah is La ma'buda bihaqqin illallah, that none has the right to be worshipped in truth except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. طيب. And we stop here bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, as this is the end of the first principle, and next time we will go into the second principle that Shaykh al-Islam Mohammad bin Abd rahimahullah ta'ala brings. ونكتفي بهذا وصل اللهم وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين.